What's up, Rockstars? Today I have a very fun unboxing, a very detailed unboxing, I am sure, but I've not filmed it yet, so you're going to be in for a treat because I'm excited for it, and I'm sure that's going to come through. But we are unboxing Shadows of Brimstone Adventures, a Warlord Pledge, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so you can see part of it right there. That is less than half of it. There's actually a whole nother box there also. So it's a ton of game. I want to be able to capture it all like on camera without zooming out way far, which is kind of silly. So we're going to focus on like one box at a time. Just know there's two of them and disregard the torn apart Warhammer table behind me. We're going to set it up later and see if my neck runs can be some Space Marines. But that's the point. Let's go ahead and get into some Shadows of Brimstone. Alright guys, so this is a massive box. This is zoomed out too. One thing I want to point out before I open it up is the quality right here is actually really good. Not only is this just a nice box entirely, but if you look over here, oh, I can barely see. Okay, all right. So right here, you can see that it's a box inside of a box. That super helps for stuff like this. There's a little bit of a mess up there, but otherwise there was a kind of a gouge here, but that's exactly what two boxes will do for you. Not only that, but two boxes, it doesn't add a whole bunch to the weight, and or necessarily the cost, because often you can forgo a lot of the packing material you would use otherwise. The key is to have a box that fits inside of a box that close. That's fairly custom, right, for the most part. But otherwise, that's pretty good. Now this said box 1, the other one said box 2. They are the exact same. In fact, now that I've opened this up and ruined how nice this would have been, tip it up here, you can see there, sideways, 30.3 pounds. They both say that. I don't know what's going on with that. That seems pretty exact. And 27.7 because they both say that as well. However, I feel like this is the 30, so I think they're both pretty much the exact same in weight, which is kind of interesting. So again, nice thick cardboard. Really appreciate that. Oh, it looks like instead of a box in a box, they have this little box on the top and bottom there. Well, not a box, but like just cardboard. But that totally works. All right. Okay. Now, if you didn't know, this launched in early February 2019. 2019. So that was a long time ago. I barely remember. That was pre-COVID. May as well have been a lifetime ago. Now, my understanding is this is empty. I don't know if it's ever full or in other words, like, I don't know if this is just a picking thing or they're just like, see, it's empty in there. Where some people will have stuff in here and some people won't. They do that sometimes just to make the packing easier. Like, and because it fits in here, obviously this is kind of designed to work, right? Custom bits here. But either way, it's empty here. I did read that in the comments. I try to go into this fairly blind, so that's really the only thing I know. But I try to do it so that you guys see my like natural, responses to everything. I really like this. Monolith, I know, uses this as well, and like I don't know what it is, but it's awesome, and it's perfect for stuff like that because you can cut it, or it's like perforated. You see, so you can separate it pretty accurately and get like an exact thing, just like that. Super cool. So kind of right up against the top here. That's what that little top layer was for. So not too bad at all. Pretty good. Pretty packed. I don't know what this whole like Basque crap is. Again, it's been a long time. I remember this and I remember this. So we'll see what everything else is. Dear Lord, why did I order so much? When did this happen? Is this all stretch goals? So here we go. We got the Hero Pack Cursed Eternal. There are just the male and female version of it in there, by the looks of it. And then, of course, there are cards and stuff. So this is just like a character option. So a lot of this, I bet, can be condensed eventually as well. What do we got here? We got the Feathered Serpents. Oh, those are fun looking. So you get 3 enemies in there. Again, plus there are cards and stuff like that. Oh, maybe more than 3. Where is it? 6. Okay, so more than 3. Good to know. So far, like all their boxes are pretty retail because that's exactly where they're going. 6 of these guys as well. The Setaris Ravagers. Oh, they're pterodactyls with laser guns. Okay, good to know. That's a thing. What else we got in here? Hello. More. Oh, look, they're the single ones. That's fun. All right, we got the Valkyrie. Both female options for the looks of it. Okay, yeah, just different sculpts. All right. All right, I think it's so deep. It's kind of hard to see what's all in here. Okay, so what is all of this? Okay, yep. So this is, I think, their stretch goal stuff. Often they'll do this. I don't know if this is Kickstarter exclusive or anything, but I remember I got Forbidden Fortress, and they did the same thing where some of theirs was like in black and white, and obviously not made for retail, right? You can see the difference there on this. So this is just Basque 2. What the heck is Basque 2? Target Artifact Pack 2, Rating Gear, Jorgono Artifact Pack 2, just a whole bunch of stuff, as you can see. A whole bunch of stuff in here. A lot. Alright. And we got this one. I don't remember packing this much. I mean, I'm sure I did. I think my wife said it looked cool, so we were like, alright, I guess I'm getting everything then. But a lot in here, too. We'll take a look at it. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. We got this one here. Oh, he's going to be fun. Thunderforged Titan. That's fun. I like how big their miniatures can get, too. They're really cool. They're all like, kind of, you have to build them. They're like hips minis and stuff. This is the Trederran Strike Team expansion, which looks fun. If I'm not mistaken, this is kind of World War II-esque by the looks of it. Looks kind of cool. They all got the little masks on and stuff. These guys are cool too, but I don't think you get those. I don't know, what do you get? A 44-page full-color adventure book. That's cool. 5 of the Trederran Strike Team. 4, I don't see any other... So I don't think you get their minis. It doesn't look like it. Okay, well, again, we'll find out. That one's heavier. There's a lot more in there. That's a big one. But I think it'll still be lighter because it's probably mostly minis. This has like the Serpent King and Fenris Wolves. Oh, excited. Dread Inquisitors and stuff. Because this was all like... oh, look at those guys. Like South American and... I don't know, wherever Vikings are from. Norseland. Okay. Here's the Valley of the Serpent Kings. This is one of the main ones with the Conquistadors and stuff like that. I think that's what they are. Something like that. Anyway, a whole bunch of map tiles and minis and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot in there. Look at the little alligator guy. Well, not a little, but, you know, whatever. Okay, and then we have the Norse one, the one I'm excited about mostly. The Gates of Valhalla. Got it. Don't worry about it, guys. There you go. So there is all of that. Again, we'll look into it. Okay, now for a brief moment, I can see. Okay, so now that we have that unboxed, let's go ahead and dig in. I think we'll do the main ones first and then kind of keep things organized. I want to start with the Norse stuff. So, let's go ahead and take a look. If you didn't know, by the way, Shadows of Brimstone is something you can spend a lot of money on. Surprise, surprise. A lot more than what I have even done here. I mean, like a whole lot. This plastic, very nice, by the way. It's actually really thick. So it's not like just falling apart or something like that. That's actually kind of nice. It'll really keep it together. But it's also an older game. And what I mean by that is it is a fairly dated design. It's a design that flows together so everything works together. It's a very expandable game system. But to give you an example of its sensibilities and how it's designed as a game, it's roll to move, like Clue or Monopoly. Not that it's as old as those games, but like that I feel like kind of dates it already. So this actually, the color is great. I will mention that first, like how bright this yellow is, right? It's kind of the yellow orange to just how like dark his cape is here, and then the white and everything just pops out, stands out really good. I think that's awesome. Looks good. I don't know what if I'm assuming these are enemies here, otherwise they're not looking at much. On the sides, you get that. There's not really a whole lot. Like, it's almost right there, right? So often when you punch out boards, sometimes there's extra space. We'll see. Got all the, like, ID numbers and stuff like that. Otherwise, it looks good. The glue job on the on here looks fairly good. It's a little bubbly here, but not too bad. You can see that in the shining light there. There you go, right there, yeah. So you can kind of see a little bit there. On the back, very low margin. Like if you see right here, it's very close actually, which is kind of odd. And in fact, it looks a little bit bigger here, but maybe not. But it's got all the different things you would normally see from like a retail box, because at the end of the day, that's exactly what this would go to, is retail. A lot of information here. This is kind of odd. I don't even know. This adventure set includes 8 parts. I mean, it's okay. It doesn't talk a whole lot about the game, at least not mechanically speaking per se. But that's okay. We'd almost need stuff like this, but like roll to move, dungeon crawler, right? City phase, stuff like that. Wide variety of miniature sizes and styles by the looks of it. So we will go ahead and take a look. Very cartoony, as you can see. It's kind of the typical style they have. All right. I don't know. Those guys are freaky. Like they freak me out. Also a line all the way across here. I'm not sure why. It's not on that side. Inside here, this is actually really good, really straight, so that looks good as well. You know, a little flexible, not the most rigid box ever. Okay, so like I said, you got to build them. Okay, so I'll build some of them, show them to you. I probably won't bother cleaning them yet, but normally I do when I build them. But I'll be here forever if that's the case. But a ton of minis. In fact, if you're just looking at like miniatures. This is all of the miniatures. Again, nice quality. It is a little cartoony in style, but that doesn't mean that the detail Christmas is not there, for sure. Here are the instructions. It talks about how you need plastic cement and clippers. You don't actually need plastic cement. In fact, I find miniature glue to be better. It ends up melting the plastic together. It makes a permanent bond. It's very nice. Very minimal. See, like he's just a body and a shield and an arm. He's just the body with the arms, you know, so it's like 3 parts max on these little guys. Not too bad at all. The arms and neck have ball and socket joints to allow you to customize the pose of each librarian. That's kind of fun. So you can kind of customize there. This guy probably has the most here, right? Of pieces. Everybody else is pretty darn straightforward. But they do have instructions, which is nice. You kind of see the size. Again, here's a cape of this guy. Quite big. Quite big. Look at the face. It looks great. Again, I'll build them and well, I'll let you know. So for now, goes over there. All right. See, we got some cards. We got a adventure book. I'm looking for the rule book. Here's the rule book. All right. So the rule book on the back has kind of a helper thing, tokens, reference, summary, right, stuff like that. Little scaling stuff and whatnot. Then inside we do have an index. It is a true index in that it is alphabetical and it lists multiple pages. It's AB, I'm assuming, for adventure book, which again has it right there. So it tells you where things are in both books, which is nice as well. And ideally this is pretty thorough. It even says KO'd and KO'd heroes helping. On 34, separate from 17, 29, and 24. So that's good to know. Looks quite well done. Then you have the credits over here, special thanks and all that kind of stuff, which is fun. It does talk about all the fans, stuff like that. It is not a Kickstarter think. This is not a Kickstarter box. It's just a general, hey, to our fans kind of thing. Let's go ahead and look at it. So a lot of text here, right? Definitely a dense rulebook when it comes to that, as you can see. That being said, if you've played Shadows of Brimstone, you should know most of this anyway. A lot of this is just going to be repeated information to you. There's a few little fun text, but honestly, this looks, I don't know. I think it's because of the heavy like margins here and stuff like that. It doesn't look very clean. Now, if Shadows of Brimstone in the world, I don't think it's really supposed to. It's supposed to look kind of old. Again, it started out as just a Western, right? But it has a little bit on like the different people and stuff like that. So not even everything's necessarily like you have to read all of it. Looks like at the beginning it has a whole lot of tokens and stuff. The game components, though, it doesn't like there's a whole lot of like, here's everything in the game that you should expect. And I do like seeing component lists. It's nice to know that you got it all. It's nice to visually see what you're talking about as well. It looks like they're fairly good at showing that, but not always necessarily. And I do appreciate that. See, even now, the game stuff's on page 10, which is kind of odd, but I just like confirming that I got everything. So the name with a picture and a count of how much you get. I prefer. But otherwise, look, it's got an index. It's been teaching people for years at this point. Nothing on the back of the adventure book, but it is just an adventure book. Let's take a quick peek at it. I'm not going to spoil really anything, but it's got a table of contents here, introduction, map, story campaign, mission rules, campaign missions. And so, like, notice it goes from page 12 to 24 on the campaign missions. So that's kind of interesting. across the frozen lands. Again, this is all just lore or whatever, and then here's the map, so you get a sense of that. Very RPG-like, very much old-school dungeon crawl in that sense. To give an example, when you throw a grenade, you actually roll dice to see how it bounces in the physics. So yeah, it's definitely an advanced old school style dungeon crawl. So I know some of you guys out there will really appreciate that. Here's the different missions. As you can see, it's not really necessarily different setups because it's mostly random, and instead it's just like different rules and stuff like that for each one, and objectives and different stuff like that to change it up. Looks like we have some things you can scan. These are probably available in PDF. Most companies do it. I imagine Flying Frog Productions has that on their website. FAQ and clarifications, a glossary of the items. Pretty easy to get to. I think it's like the second page in. A mutations chart. You'll be rolling on this as you get various mutations. So you can get a tentacle leg, or tentacle tongue, or tentacle mustache, or glowing skin, or rock skin, or horns, or you can have an eye grown over, or a third eye, or eye stalks, or fused fingers, swollen lesions, leg growth, arm growth, second head, fangs. So look, you can get a lot of stuff going on here, and it affects your game too, which is pretty cool. I think that's awesome. Then there's daily events that you can roll on and stuff as stuff happens. It looks like there's a painting guide if you wish to paint them like that. Those look a little dark to me. I like painting my miniatures a little bit brighter if I can for the tabletop. I think they tend to look good, but it's also just not necessarily the best pictures ever. So a little bit of that too. But it is cool that they see that, and they actually talk about the different paints. They partner with Army Painter to make them actually, but they're all just, like, they'll map, right? So these are not new. Tengu Gray is not a new color, right? They'll just name it or theme the name of it. So you can do the mapping of that to find out as well. But yeah, no, this is cool. The library, different stuff like that. So there's a lot here. Very cool adventure book. A lot of stuff in there. And it's a little chalky. There's like a coating of something that kind of coats it all. I'm not sure what it is, but it's like that often. This is definitely kind of a bummer here. So this is the same thickness as you would, let's say, like these cards. But as cards get bigger, they need to be thicker to hold up their shape. So this is quite thin for how big this is. So it's quite wavy. Also, I don't know if you noticed or not, but it's very glossy. Like, it'll blind you. Look at that. Take that, guys. Look at that. Test how white your monitor can get. Huge. I get this. I mean, it's fine, right? There's a camp and you can move your people there or whatever. But it does take up a lot. Like, there's a lot of extra space here, too. Definitely a little bit of a table hog, especially on the back here. Depth event charts. Hopefully not using those at the same time. Otherwise, you have all sorts of stuff. And again, you would, like, set this out, and it is a little big, but that's okay, I suppose. Just don't play on a coffee table. Library knowledge, Viking camp, expeditions, and supplies. So you can actually get this kind of stuff. You even have to, like, rent horses and cook the meat that you get. Tell a campfire tale. Warm your bones. Exercising madness. Listen to an epic saga, right? I mean, all sorts of this crazy stuff. Campfire, Viking healer. Give an offering to Odin or Freya and stuff like that. You can figure out your injuries, like a mangled head or a gouged eye or concussion or crushed arm. You know, all that fun stuff. Ripped apart 1 to 2, where your hero just dies. Right? That's a thing. That's a thing. Trade charts, so you can actually trade different things. In a city phase, you would go through all this to be able to buy things and whatnot, right? And spend all of your money. The only thing I thought that was interesting in Forbidden Fortress, and the same thing here, is they still use a $sign. I know in this world it still kind of works, but it always felt weird to like have a bunch of Japanese people with dollars or Vikings with dollars, right? Seems a bit strange, but it just means money. Or would have preferred some kind of made-up symbol, perhaps, just to counteract that, but that's kind of the idea. All right, so we have, it looks like an ally that you can get, and a Viking warrior mutation, so he can get his own mutations and upgrades. That's kind of interesting to see. He's got abilities and stuff. Looks like you can hire up to 2 of them to come along and help you, and they have their initiative and to hit and weapons and move, combat, all that kind of stuff. That's cool. I dig that little AI helper. All right, here we have some of the enemy cards and whatnot. So we have the Archive Towers. And again, you have the regular and the brutal version. The Centurions. And again, 2 different versions of them. You have the Frost Giant. It's very blue. You have the Grimians. They're not Gremlins, they're Grimians. Let me zoom in a little bit if we're going to be a little bit closer here. Okay, zoomed in a little bit. So this is all like a little bit of sci-fi robot stuff going on here. Targa Librarian. And then we have like tentacles. The abilities are Smash. Trolls. And then we have a Viking Berserker. This would be your characters here, right? Viking Huskarl, a Jarl, and a Raider. And again, male and female options for all of those. Standard Shadows of Brimstone stuff. All right, let's see what else we got here. We got dice. Oh, look at that. I hate these so much. You know what this is? This is plain dice. This is Yahtzee dice right here. I get it. It's retail. It's not like some like super duper Kickstarter thing. I think even retail board games can have a little bit of fun. If you're buying a specialty board game, which something like this is not, you know, Yahtzee. You would have dice that aren't just like Yahtzee. So you get plain. I'm not even opening these up. They're the same boring dice your grandmother has. All right, then we have see, this is what you want. You want some special dice. Look at the special dice. You get one of them. Congratulations. All right. Looks like this one is a little marbled. We'll take a look at that too. My dice are super cheap. You literally even pick the plastic. They could put it in. It would cost them like 3 pennies more per copy, maybe. I do like the marbling on this. It's still like a lot of times I don't like if the swirl is too advanced, but this one, when it catches the light, you can really see it, I think, quite well. Hopefully you can see that. Oh, there you go. There you are. Yeah, very cool. I like it. Hey, a 3. That's pretty typical. And then this is actually quite textured, which is also nice. I'll let you kind of look at that. Right side up, I guess. So that's cool. I dig that. It's nice. Very sharp corners, so it should roll actually a lot more fair than otherwise, except that these are inlaid here, and I don't know exactly how weighted it is perfectly. But either way, these sharp corners help. It won't roll as much, but it should be better. That's why all the casinos and stuff use that. It looks like there is stuff underneath, probably map tiles and stuff. So we'll get there. We'll get some card stuff first. All right. Whoop, okay. Storage-wise, so you can see kind of where we're at here. That's where we're at right now. All right. Throw those bad boys back in there. There you go. We got world cards. We got map decks, and we got artifacts. Whoop. All right. No easy. Oh. No easy. 8 hairs on here. I don't think there's an easy open on this, so the easy open is a blade to the side and lots of prayer that I don't cut anything, but that's all right. Okay, got that open. Get these suckers. Come on. Going to open them all. Take a look at them real quick. I don't know if we're probably not going to look at every card. That seems kind of pointless. If you just wanted to see everything in there, pictures would work better than that. You're just here for commentary, and commentary on every single card sounds a little boring to me. This is going to be long enough as it is. All right. Small deck first. World cards. We got different lore by the looks of it here. Oath of the Hellborn, Shockwaves from the Void, right? The last gasp, Beyond the Dreams of Men. These are the growing dreads that you get if you're going too far, too deep into the caves or wherever it is that you're going through this. You need to bring enough like lantern stuff or whatever. Savage Things, Darkness boost size. Enemies that are large size or bigger now have +1 combat to their hit rolls of 6+, do 2+ damage each. Remains in play. Not good. Not good. Stand Against Darkness. Cold and Calculating. I love that all the art seems to fit, which is good. Agremian Infestation, Unknown Shores, Roar of the Hellbear. Hate Hellbears. Ancient Secrets. And you have some weapons here. These are the Darkness cards. And these are just gear, right? Throwing spears. You got supply carts, mead jugs, throwing axes, a fur cloak, a warrior spear, a chain helm, fire arrows, seafaring talisman, right? A raven feather, all sorts of different stuff you can do. And then we have some actual, looks like, traits here that you can modify your enemies with. And again, very shiny.
I'll talk about the other qualities in a little bit. Cave trolls, ice trolls, mountain trolls. So different kinds of trolls. Bridge trolls, river trolls. Lots of different kinds of trolls. Then you have the Norselands, which is the Dark Shadow and Odin's Light stuff. And the Targa Plateau, the library. So, speaking of these are incredibly skinny. Like, seriously, they are really skinny. You're going to want, I don't even care how much you necessarily shuffle, you're still probably going to want sleeves on that. That is very skinny. Definitely some of the cheaper cards, sadly, when it comes to that. A lot of board games do that when they're just not, like, card games, right? That ends up being what they do. All right, let's look at some of this. And again, we have scavenge and loot and bounce diagram. This is the thing where I talked about where when you roll, it kind of says where things bounce, right? Like if you're a sumo wrestler, belly flopping, or throw a grenade or something like that. Librarian Prime, tonic, throwing axe token. So a whole bunch of stuff. So let's just take a smattering. Like good find. And again, you roll on that to see what you're going to get on a D8. Jewels, so you just get money. Yay. Nothing here. Boring. Something in the dark. Moving shadows. You got different loot here too. Shields, Norse swords, berserker axe, a wolf pelt. Then you actually have team heroes like this. A chieftain, war party, a battle roar, plunder, honor guard. Then you have these team abilities like battle rage, pillage, war cry, raven sight. You got other stuff like runic rings and lucky raiding boots, silver bracelet. You have different stuff here that you can do in the encounters like treasures of the past or echoing roar, arcing energy. There's a lot of variety. Again, this is a very old school style dungeon crawl. And a lot of times they just have a whole lot of stuff. Like the first edition of Descent had like a lot of potions, right? Stuff like that. So we got map deck. We got stuff like the Otherworld Threat. We got epic and high. These are the different enemies, I believe. Medium. And then low. We have different artifacts. Lots of artifacts. Lots of encounters. So looking this way. Here's some of the encounters you can have. Then Axe of Biomar or Odin Stone. So you have all these cool ones here. Rune of Thunder. Rune of the Trickster. More tentacles. Frost Giants, right? You've seen kind of a lot of this already. And then the different maps as well. And what each one of those do and how they connect and stuff like that. That's all the cards. All right, let's see what's underneath this. Ta-da! Tokens and stuff. Warning, avoid danger of suffocation. I will. I'll be good. Alright. Put this back in. And again, the tray. It's alright. I like that it's black. It's a little skinny. But not too bad. Not too bad. I got a whole bunch of this. I like when they're wrapped like this. It means it's a lot more guaranteed that you got them all. When they're individually done, it's very easily just in the factory, you know, one of the thousands are put together, they do wrong or whatever. They thought they grabbed the whole stack and they didn't, or packed wrong, that kind of stuff. That being said, I can already tell the fact that I can bend all of these shows the quality is not super great. Now, I remember that one of my big problems with Shadows of Brimstone, the Forbidden Fortress, and I guarantee they didn't fix anything here, or they would have done it the other 18 times they'd done it before Forbidden Fortress, but is these tiles, they like these big tiles, right, which are super cool and all, but these bend. I left this overnight. I'll probably do again the same thing, so in like a review I'll be able to mention it, but you leave it like that and you come back the next day and they're like curled, right? It's ridiculous. So they're left flat and smashed there, but once they're able to kind of live free, it gets a little bad. Also, with just how cheap they are, like when it comes to like how bendy they are, right? And they're not the worst. They're not the worst I've had by far. But when you have to puzzle piece them together, that can cause a big issue. As you can see, you got the little sci-fi stuff and the overt stuff on the outside there. And we'll show kind of a quick little... It normally goes room, hallway, like that, right? But in this, we'll do this. The tags, not too bad, especially for the thick black outline. These maps can get truly, truly huge. It can be a very big and sprawling game, but there you go. That's how you'd connect that. And then you kind of have the two there. Or again, if it was on this side, it would look like that. Very fun, very cool. I dig it. I dig it. I actually like it. They look cool. The art looks great. I like it. Matches everything else. We're going to look at small. Oh, so tags, definitely a thing. All right, let's try and punch it from the other side. Okay, not too bad. And it does break the tags a little bit nicer. I do worry about some pull, though. It does seem to want to catch. We'll do one bigger one here. But, yeah, no, this looks fine. I don't really see a lot of the layers. I mean, you can see the layers, but it's not too bad. It is definitely, you can see me marking there, right? Quite exposed, where it's like it has these two. Oh, yeah, it's super squishy, guys. I guess not super. It's not too bad. But on the edges, you can definitely compress that pretty easily. So over time, I imagine as you're picking it up and pulling it down, right, you're going to get a little bit of wear and tear. As you can see, I'm already kind of starting to peel it. So it'll start looking kind of like that, right, as you're going around and you get that little bit of peel. So you don't want that. You can already see a little bit of white as an outline there. It won't do so much on this side of it because it's rounded when they push it in. But yeah, definitely will show some wear and tear there. There are some, just going to be really messy for now, other shapes like this, which again seems to show pretty good. So I have a little bit of tags, but nothing too bad. And again, everything is incredibly shiny and glossy. None of it's matte anything or linen anything. Got all the bandages and throwing axes, and because you'd actually throw the axe down, right? That's how it would work. You have some, it looks like standee tentacles. Kind of interesting. I don't know why necessarily have that. Looks like you have two different colors as well. I'm assuming different, if it's brutal or not. Cool rube split up here. You got your different bags and stuff. Okay, some more stuff here. Looks like some gems and whatnot. Animal. Some different portals. Dead ends. And then some more tokens. Really, you have grit, rage, raw, meat, and ale. And that's really it. I imagine on the other side is the cooked meat. It just says meat, though, versus meat raw. So there's meat and then there's raw meat. There's not raw meat and cooked meat. And then I hear kind of glossed over this, but you have the death track. This is where you're kind of drawing the growing dread and getting stuff that's like really bad. It gets worse and worse the farther you go down. But the better loot you get too. Guys, that's everything in this core box. So again, I'll get these minis built, kind of show them off a little bit at the end of the video. I might put them at the end of each section, we'll see. But for now, let's go and get into another one. All right, next up is Valley of the Serpent Kings. All I did was take the wrapping off because you guys don't want to see that every single time. So just trying to be efficient here. Again, looks cool. I like it. I like the color differences, right? It has a very different feel thanks to all the color choices that they make. So that's really cool to see. And of course, the art's all neat stuff too. So let's go ahead and dive in. Yeah, I don't know. Do alligators, crocodiles? Which one is it? Do they have tongues like that? I don't know. It seems kind of dinosaur-y. So again, exact same kind of setup in these core boxes. You get all that, and then you have the minis here. Again, you can see you get quite a few, actually, like quite a bit. I will again build some of these, show them off to you. Look how big that alligator is. He's gonna be big. That's fun. Actually, let's see. Is it alligator? Oh, come on. Let me have it. It is a Crocs and Beast. That doesn't answer my question anyway. It's made up. It's all spiky. Looks kind of half dinosaur. So same thing here. I'm not going to bother with either of these because you guys have kind of seen it, right? This is kind of one of the big bummers is you're constantly buying like a rulebook over and over again. I imagine there are some differences. I don't know because like I said, all I had was Forbidden Fortress last time. So I don't know how different this is besides just the look and feel of it. I don't know if there's any necessarily unique mechanics or not. I imagine so, to an extent, perhaps. Like I said, I remember in Forbidden Fortress, I played a sumo and I could belly flop and stuff, and that's something not everybody can do. But a lot of it's kind of the same. But again, you get kind of your painting stuff and all the lore and all sorts of stuff. This is dungeon crawl kind of goodness here, which is super fun to see. So I do that. All right, there's both of those. Here is the map here. You get the campfire and the supplies and the anchored ship and stuff like that. And then on the back, you get all the stuff you can do. You got a training ground that's locked at first. It says, this location may be visited and may not be visited to until built at the expedition supplies. You have training ground, Spanish armory. On both sides, you have the madness chart that you can roll on. The anchored ship you can go and visit. The expedition supplies. And I believe they have expansions that add to this. The campfire. And this is cool. Inner halls. That's a cool looking thing. There's the Conquistador Camp, Conquistador, and Death event charts, which is always fun as well. So that is kind of what you get there. All right, you get carnivorous plants, because of course. You get creeping shadows. That sounds fun. The Crocs and Beast, as I said. And again, it looks pretty cartoony. They always do that kind of stuff. Drowned Dead, Serpent Men, Archers, the Temple Guard. Those are fun. More tentacles. Everybody needs tentacles. That's just how life works. So we got the Duelist. We have El Capitan. Then we have the Explorer. And the Soldier. There you go. So those are the different people you can be. This ally is a Conquistador Footman that you can bring over. And then here are his upgrades that you can also do, which is cool. And again, that is kind of everything in here besides plain boring dice and a green one. Ooh, this green one's really sparkly. Okay, I'll look at it. Fine, you win. I'll look. Fine, whatever. Here we go. All right, look at that. Is that not fun or what? That is a shiny one. That's cool. My wife will love this. If nothing else, she would use it also in Warhammer 40,000. She plays Death Guard, so she's always looking for a green dice. Where the heck did it go? Hello? But that's fun. Very nice. Very nice. Looks great. I like this one more than the blue one. Okay, let's go ahead and I don't know if we necessarily need to look too much at cards. We'll look briefly real quick, but that is really it. Nothing major at all. Some of the stuff that you'll be doing. Okay, one thing I did notice is they wrapped these differently. In the last one, the World Cards section was really in the small one, and now in this one, the small one is the map deck here. It's all the same kind of stuff. It just depends, right? But here's all of your like encounters and stuff. You got the Dark Halls, and again, it looks like you have multiple of different ones. So different things can happen. Tropical Storm, Ritual Circle, the Devil's Dew, Watcher in the Shadows, Barbed Door, Cracked Mirror, Echoing Rattle, Creeper Vines, Forgotten Trail, Reclaimed by the Swamp, Sunken Tomb of Blood and Feather. That's a fun one. And then, of course, you have all of these, which are your artifacts, like a golden coin or orders from the crown. Or that's cool. These are very thematic. I like that. Sword of Victory, a silver rapier, faithful cross, helm of the Santiago, temple stone relics, guardian clubs, feathered shield, right? Just all sorts of different stuff. And then you have some of the enemies here that like the different traits you can have, like Drowned Dead. Or the raiders that are archers or guard, creeping shadows. I don't know what the P is there. Oh, these are just the different threat levels that you get. And then you have a few here, like the Spanish Fort and the swamps of Jargono, Valley of the Serpent Kings. Very cool. Okay, so that's that. Here we have a map deck. And then after that, we have the Darkness. And then we also have the Otherworld Threat. And then the Drowned Dead trait. So here's some of the traits you can have, right? For the Drowned Dead. Hunger for Vengeance, the Tower Guard, Watery Grave. So they'll be different each time you fight them based on that. Serpent, Arches, Carnivorous Plants. And again, multiple different ones there. Oh, look, that one's blue instead. That's cool. I dig that. And then here we have Cursed Voyage. Closing In, Wretched Corruption, the Fort Vault, the Mid Passage. So all the different map tiles I like actually have names, which is kind of cool. I dig that. Very thematic and kind of helps you even talk about them a little bit too. So we got a lot of these different, side bag tokens and stuff like that. All these different helper cards and all sorts of stuff here. Now here we have the actual loot cards that you draw on. Right, so you get some of those. Then you have your scavenge stuff, and again, you get XP and stuff like that. More items, because of course, these are team abilities you can have. Untold Riches, New Worlds to Explore, Navigation, right? That sort of stuff, which is fun. And again, more items, because why not? You need all your, different forms of alcohol and leg armor. Just the basics. Just the basics. Soldier's Chin Strap. Yeah, that sounds kind of boring. Darkest Night. These are the Growing Dread. These are not good to get. Last Stand. Encroaching Madness. Typical Doom stuff, really. And there are all the cards. All right, so let's go ahead. Pop this out. Make a quick gander at some of these tiles. Really, I'm looking forward to the, at least these are easier to open. I'm looking forward to the map tiles. It's probably what I'm mostly looking at here. Though these coins are pretty cool too. I do dig that. All right. Here we are. All right. Oh, look, they left a weapon there for you. How nice. So there's so it looks like it's Jungle Temple or like actual kind of like town area. So again, like a sand temple versus the jungle temple. It's kind of what we're getting at here. You have some various portals and stuff like that. Very cool. I like how different they are. Like this is inside of a building versus this is outside with some huts and stuff. So it makes it seem a lot different. Or like here it's a hallway, here it's stairs. Right? So you're getting the different shapes and different purposes for different rooms instead of the same thing over and over again. Like, oh, this is a stairs in both of them. No, the stairs look different in one versus another. And I do dig that. I think that's awesome. Ooh, the round one's cool. I do like the round one here. And again, here's where you would add those other areas. Very cool. That's like boss battle level stuff. Here's all the dead ends and stuff you can go into. Again, on the back, all of the green. Here's your portals here. Oh, I like there's like people and dogs by the looks of it. And then your regular typical tokens. Okay, so I will get started on those minis and we will take a look at them. All right, so next up, let's do some quick and easy ones. We're going to get through a few here, and then we'll do some of the bigger ones. And we'll do, I think, the giant Kickstarter one at the very end. That sounds fun. Okay, so these are just quick and easy. This looks like it's going to be just the character and their cards. So I'm going to open up, kind of show the mini a little bit, and then we'll go on from there. This one, I don't know if I'm going to build all of these minis or not, all these separate minis like this. I will look into it. But if nothing else, we can look at them on the sprue. So this is a very rigid box, by the way. Like the corners are like really strong. So that's kind of nice for a tuck box, which I think is what this is. Hello? Yeah. Okay. So it is a tuck box, though, which is kind of a bummer. But fairly good one. All right. And that's literally it. Okay. So again, now empty in there. So you have the mini here. You have a little bit about them. It does get curled. That's pretty typical. FAQ and notes. That's kind of cool. I dig that. Already kind of answering some questions you might have. Here they have their upgrade chart, which is separate from what everybody else does. And then their different level up stuff there, which is cool. I dig that. And here you probably have the two alt. You either have a Avenger or a Shield Maiden. Those are the two different versions of Valkyrie that you can have, which is cool also. I dig that. That's awesome. Got your different tokens here for the hero, in case you need those. 2 for each kind. You get some equipment just for that character. Well, I don't know if it's just for that character or not, actually, but you get it added in their expansion pack anyway. So you have the Winged Helm, the Valkyrie Spear, the Valhalla Armor, which that doesn't look... I mean, that just looks like normal chainmail there. The Mythic Shield and the Avenging Blade, and then you get some Divine Defender, Bringer of Death, and Treasures of Valhalla. Those are your different abilities, I believe, that you can also get. So, very cool to see, like that. And then the actual miniature itself. I might glue these together. I think that'd be pretty easy. So, I want to go ahead and probably build these for you. May as well go all out. You're welcome. So we'll do that. All right, let's look at some enemies. This is the Setaris Ravagers enemy pack. This is kind of what they're doing with this. Excited to see. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, careful, careful. Oh, hello. All right. Come on. I don't know. Do you guys know about Wave 2 and what's coming in that? Let me know in the comments below. I mean, if you made it this far, no. So this is interesting. This, unlike the other one, needs to be cut. Unless it's just one side. No, it's both sides. All right. One had to be sealed a little bit. Oh, look at that. That's why I don't like tuck boxes. Like, the more you open them, see, it's just, it is an extremely unpleasant experience for the consumer. And the box ends up looking bad, and it's just not a good box style. I do not like it. So again, about them, new enemies, threat cards, snapfire, and assembly guide in there. And then here you have their, oh, this is all sorts of it. And again, look how skinny this is. Like, hopefully you can see that. I mean, they're really skinny. They're really easy to bend. It's just not, and then it even kind of stays like that a little bit. It's just not great. Also, this, smooth, rough. Here. Okay, so I'm going to rub, smooth, rough, smooth, rough. Like, it is like, it feels weird. It's not cool. Again, very cheap. Got some tokens here. Snapfire. I do like the symbols for that. I'll take a look at these. And look, see, these are easy open too. I do like that. That's nice. That's a good consumer experience. All right, so we got Snapfire here. Then we have their threat cards here, probably in the different colors and stuff. Looks like derelict ship, and then you got the threat deck as well. So again, you'll get their different spawns that they could have, and then they could have Setaris Ravagers like this or like that. Just different versions of them by the looks of it. And that's really it for that. So the main thing is their unique ability there. Plus, of course, their stats and other stuff here. And then their minis, which look pretty cool. Looks like they assemble in about 3 pieces, which isn't too bad. How many pieces is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, technically with the wings. So not too bad. All right, so let's stack all this onto each other. Like so. And call it good. Okay. Next up, we have the Feathered Serpents. This is one I thought looked cool. I like these guys. I do. I think they look very neat. So we'll open that up. Again, same kind of crappy tuck box design I don't like, but it is what it is. It's what it's. Okay, so again, this one is taped up. Come on. There we are. There we are. Okay. So again, very bent character card, and actually dinged as well, which is kind of a bummer. Ideally, you had it like in between 2 of these things at least, or something like that, because otherwise the minis can poke in on. Like, do you see how? Do you see on the plastic here? That's from the wing and stuff, just being able to push against that, right? Kind of the difference there. Bigger assembly instruction, that's for sure. It looks like that because they are different. See, one's shaped like that, one's shaped like that. Pose 1 and pose 2. Yep, there you go. So that's why that's like that. Otherwise, they have their little stats here. Again, all kind of cartoony, typical kind of stuff there. Lots of tokens on this because it looks like they're dealing poison. That's no fun. Nobody likes poison. Nobody does. I bet they don't even like poison. It does show their little English down here, but I mean, again, it's just the title is really the only thing it is. So nothing too big there. All right, there's those minis. Last of the small boxes is the Cursed Eternal Hero Pack. This should be fun. I like that because look at those weapons. Those are cool. That's what I'm excited about. Those are neat. I like when the theme goes a little crazy, I feel. Alright. Again, just an absolute ton of stuff here. And once again... No, not sealed. So the character packs are not sealed. Just the enemy packs are sealed. For whatever reason. So as you can see, these are just kind of lumped together. So there is the Cursed Eternal female and male. And then here we have a bit about them. You learn about how they're touched by evil, and they have a glorious expedition and Ghostblade mastery and all that other stuff. On the back, their abilities to be able to upgrade. So they'll have like a run through and years of practice and dueling focus and then Ungarde or Dark Calling and Sinister Whisper, Leeching Cuts, Eternal's Dread, right? Stuff like that. Then on here, we have a little bit about them. New hero, what they do. Small little FAQ and notes, not as much as the Valkyrie though. And inside of here, we're going to get their tokens plus an ambition currency that they kind of use. Their different abilities and what should be their like kind of unique gear as well. All right, so that's kind of a bummer is that, you know, you're stuck with, even if you picked like the female one, your cards are gonna have the male on the back. So you have Fountain Water. Okay, that's nice that they had Fountain Water back then. No, I'm kidding. Eternal's Armor, I love that. Ghostblade, love that. The Fountain's Curse. Ghostblade Mastery, Glorious Expedition, and Touched by Evil. Very cool, very cool. And then the 2 minis on 1 sprue. The blades do look awesome. We'll for sure build those, show them to you. Looks cool. Okay, so again, we're not doing the big one yet. So let's go ahead and look at this one. This is a whole other area you can go and explore through a portal, which is kind of how they expand everything. I'm going to do this style of open. See how terrible that is to do. Pretty terrible. All right. There we go. Oh, now that's going to start messing up. Oh, man. Oh, man. Here we go. Okay. Woo! Look out, bro. All right. There we are. Open it up. And we got a huge adventure book for these, so that's fun. Again, a whole lot of new stuff. That's why these bigger box expansions, this adds so much to that. So a lot of different stuff there to go through. Have brand new types of tokens. Now I will say this. Where's my pokey stick? Hello? So I will say this. Look how blurry this is. What the heck is up with this? Look at this. Why is it so blurry? Why is this all crisp and this all blurry? That is a crappy piece of art. That sucks. Like, at least this is consistent. This is really crisp and something that was like way too small and then blown up or colored in crayon or something. What the heck is up with that? Don't make your stuff blurry. At least not inconsistently blurry. I like this token. This token's kind of cool. Let's go ahead and see. Maybe take a look at that. Again, fairly low quality. Like, this looks like a graphic from Command & Conquer, like the original one on the PC. Big tags on this, that's for sure. But you do get a nice little donut of it. Oh my gosh, that tag is ridiculous. Not exactly happy with that. That looks kind of poopy. Not gonna lie. So far, not the best. Yeah, see? Look at this. This is nice and crisp. This looks good. So what the heck happened with this other crap over here? Again, nice and crisp. Looks good. So what the heck? Even this flame effect's pretty neat. I dig that. So why some of that stuff is blurry? I don't know. Okay, so they put this to make the box be the same size, but obviously you didn't need that much space. In fact, you didn't need that much space by far. You didn't. Here's the minis here. You can see it actually be a pretty quick build. You're mostly just putting on a arm and a leg for the most part. Some backpacks and shoulder pads, stuff like that as well. So you have the Trench Soldier. You have the Grenadier. Then you have his upgrades. And you have the Raider as well. And then the Raider's upgrades. You probably have the Soldier upgrades too. There you go. And then you have the Trench Mutant. Everybody's favorite. Then over here, come on, you have your characters. So you can be the Engineer, or the Legionnaire, or the Sergeant, or the Specialist. And then you have here the Strike Team, which is another kind of enemy of that type that you can have. So you can play as these characters, or you can include them as a strike team against you by the looks of it, which is kind of cool. And then the alternate version of that. But it looks like only some of them. Only one of them maybe has an alternate version? Looks pretty similar to me. Okay, here's different stuff you can kind of buy and all that. And then they do have... Oh, come on. Come on. Oh my gosh, look at that. Okay, see, right here. I'm just trying to get that out. This is what I'm talking about. When I say like crappy retail quality, I mean stuff like this. I mean, you just typically don't get Kickstarters with this low quality of material. You do get a lot but the quality is definitely lower. You're getting a lot of not as nice things, which is funny because they have like Hips miniatures. It's a weird combo, guys. It really is. You get like nice miniatures and then crappy paper. That's like high gloss, cheap, rough on the outside, leaves your skin coated in a fine powder of paper. Cutouts. Love the map area. That looks cool, actually. I did that. It looks very army-like. Got the field hospital with all the different stuff you can do there. Expedition supplies, campfire. You know, typical stuff. And then an assembly guide. I'm afraid to take anything else out without breaking it with my fingernails. Dear Lord. All right. So we got some cards here. Take a look at that. My fingers feel so smooth because all that fine, super fine powder you get on there fills up the ridges in your finger. All right, so we got a whole bunch of stuff. So we're just going to kind of look through it. But as you can see, a lot of team abilities and, you know, the normal stuff you get, starting gear and whatnot. So go ahead and take a look. Strike markers. So the ability to use those tokens. They've got a whole bunch of stunned markers, toxic charges, rad grenades, grenade launcher shells. Dear Lord. My goodness. Okay. You got the Sergeant Hack and Slash, or the Legionnaire Demolitions, or the Engineer Excavator, Specialist Master at Arms. You get a Field Lamp, Strike Team Helmet, Commander's Gas Mask. Oh, only they get the gas mask. Huh? Is that it? Stealth Hood. I like the Stealth Hood. The T-16 Field Pistol, little popper gun. You get the Sergeant's Saber. You get the Trederran Long Coat, Warren Ammo Bag, Varn Critter. Oh, he's adorable. The Union Republic of Tarkon, Liberation Army, Special Forces. Just a lot of, I mean, again, the variety here is impressive. As you can see, there are some that are repeats, but still, there's just so much here. It's insane. It's almost tiring to go over. DSC-4 Light Machine Gun. Love it. That looks awesome. There was a Mark III grenade launcher. Just ridiculous stuff. Piranha Chain Blade. Wow. And then, of course, the Strike Team. Very cool. All right, so there's that. And again, if you just buy this, there's nowhere like necessarily to put it. So for now, I'm just going to stick it in there, I guess, and just kind of deal with it. Kind of a bummer. But that's what it's. Okay, put that in there. We will keep that organized. All right, guys, we are getting towards the bottom of this stack. We have the big guy here. I mean, obviously, I'm going to build this guy. Obviously. I mean, that's just a given, right? So I had the big dragon of the Forbidden Fortress, right? This is kind of their XXL Deluxe enemy pack. They'll sell multiple of these, so I believe I only got this one. All right. Take a look. Again, tuck box, so it's going to be crappy. That's why it already is crappy and kind of bent in. It's kind of a bummer. Does show it painted in the back. That's kind of cool. I do dig that. All right. So there is everything. Giant card here. It doesn't actually have to be this big. They just like making it big so it looks big, I guess. It's whatever. But I don't know why they do that. Brutal is initiative 3 versus 2. Health goes from 40 per hero to 70 per hero. So a big upgrade there. And of course they are technically painted a little bit different as well. Which is why some people buy multiples to paint them different colors. Which is hardcore. That's all I am saying there. Okay. So we got Thunderquake and Lightning Strike and Soul Crush, Hammer Smash, Underworld Vengeance, and God Slayer. Dun dun dun. Love it. Titanic Devastation. You have eruption tokens here. You have a big old base. Right? Nice big one. This base is actually quite nice. Cover 2014. This is an old base. 90 millimeter. It's a very good base, though. I like that base a lot. And as you can see, he's pretty darn big. You better believe I'm going to show him to you. That's awesome. Then you do have the little information about it, right? How it works when it comes to like arcs and facings and stuff like that. The assembly guide. So you're putting together, right? How to paint them, all that jazz. So it's very cool to see in a little mission form. Okay, so that just leaves us with these 3 kind of non-retail boxes. So let's go ahead and take a look. There we are. Okay. Oh man, cut again. That's so annoying. I want to deal with that junk. Let me in. Look at that. Broken box. Hate it. And as you can see, just keeping it kind of spaced in there. But I don't think these are really supposed to be kept, these boxes anyway. They're just, as you can see, there to hold stuff. Oh my gosh, what a mess. What a mess. Not very clean, that's for sure. Okay, so you got some enemies here and how to build them. Same with this. Here you have the Trun Gladiators. They look fun, I like their blades. You got some tokens here. Love the book and the little idol here. The ring is kind of cool too. Then you also have the Dark Acolytes and some new cards. And as you can see, quite a few minis. So we got some like alternate gender stuff here, I believe. You got, these are the Dark Acolytes. Another, I think, alt gender. And these are the the lizard dudes with these big blades that look fun too. Otherwise, you get the enemy packs and some items and stuff. And then this would actually be some game supplement stuff. Explorer pack has the artifact pack card supplement, Odin's Wrath card supplement, Spanish Fort artifact pack, Dark Ambitions, True Gladiator enemy pack, and Dark Acolyte enemy packs. So that's kind of the cards you get. And then again, you get these cool minis. I'll go ahead and build a few of them and show them off. Alright guys, one more small box, and then we got the giant box. And by small, this is heavy though. This is like heavier than the last one. I think there's more cards in this. There must be, because it is like heavy. I've also noticed, I feel like this wrap is thinner than the normal wrap you got on the core boxes. I remember commenting how nice that was, and these are just kind of there. That's what it feels like. Come on. Just let me at it, please. There we are. Alright. Open that up. Just like that. Oh yeah, lots of cards. There's all the cards. Woo! Are there enemies in here? What the heck? What the heck? Okay. Alright, what the heck? Okay, so we got a Scout Tank here. However, as far as I know, in the Serpent King card, minis must be in the big one, is my assumption here. Obviously, these are going to be XXL as well, so 2 more XSL minis. That'll be fun. And then we have a whole bunch of card packs here. We'll look at those in a second. And we have the Jaguar Warrior, which is fun. I like that. Another character expansion. This is cool. Kickstarter Warlord Pledge Rules Collection. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. Different ways to, the different builds for all the minis. We'll take a look at a lot of that kind of stuff, obviously. Yeah, very fun. Okay. There's a lot here. I dig that. It's nice of them to collect all this into one little bit. Okay, so it looks like, oh dear lord. Okay, so we got a whole lot of these guys. So we got the Dread Inquisitors. We have the Draugr. We have the, I have to have it backwards. I'll do this one. The Slayers. I'm not going to say that other name. Fenris Wolves. Harvester Drill Team. You have the Hellbearer. You have the Hellborn Marauders. The Lumia Vampires. The Shadow Lurkers. The Swamp Stingers. I like these guys. The Venom Strike Ballista. Then you have your Jaguar Warrior character. Probably alternate gender as well. You have the Conquistadors and the Frontier Posse and the Samurai War Party, because why not? And then the Viking Raiding Party and the Archive Guardian and the Children of the Mountain. So a ton there. Wow. That variety is what allows a dungeon crawler to really thrive, I feel, is having that sort of variety. I know we don't, when it comes to being like crazy when the expenses and miniature and shipping and all that, but dungeon crawlers they do better for it. You don't have to find the same thing over and over again. Burning Mark Defense, potent poison, not just poison, potent poison. It's got to be different than the regular poison. You have shaken and bleeding. And, oh, here's regular poison. Wait, and what is that? It's like a body part or something. Weird. Bitten. And then the, like, dead gypsy stuff going on. Another flamethrower. In case you didn't have that already. Overheat, cooldown, stunned, exhaust hose, treads. Spark for the tank here. And then we have all these different card packs. So all enemy packs here. Here you get Raiding Gear, Tools of Conquest, the Targa Artifact Pack, the Jargano Artifact Pack, and Flames of Ragnarok. Here you get Rivals of the Old West Heroes, Rivals Feudal Japan Heroes, Rivals Conquistador Vikings, and Cities of Gold. And then here you have the other enemy packs. So all of these are enemy packs. That's crazy. That's a ton. And that leads me to believe now that this is just all minis. So let's see. Let us find out. Oh, look at that. It's already open for me. Fantastic. My goodness. There's going to be a lot. I know that. I know that's coming. Let's see. All right. Oh, nope. Still taped. Boo. Okay, so here is the Serpent King or Pterodactyl King thing or whatever, I believe, with the big old wings. Here's parts to the tank. That's fun. Here's a big, like, dwarven robot mech thing. Whole lot of bases for these little mummy guys or Aztec kind of mummy things. Here's some little serpent people. We got some Norse dudes. We got a little, like, the little ice giant kind of looking thing. A big thing here. This is the bear. We got that. Oh dear lord, guys. Guys. Okay, look. So I got some building to do. There's the Fenris wolves. I'll definitely build them. Because they're wolves. I love wolves. I guess I'll catch you guys in about a week when I get some of this built. Alright guys, welcome to 2 days later. I spent about 8 hours. I built all day, but it wasn't just this per se. A lot of these minis, and that was for you guys, so hopefully you enjoy a good smattering of them. Because not only did I build them, but I cleaned them up too, trimmed them up a little bit. They often have little tags you have to build. Before we get started, because I know a lot of you guys are going to say hips, and they're going to look at this, and you're going to have either expectations one way or the other. So I do want to show some Games Workshop hips, because I think most people expect that or want that when they hear hips miniatures, right? When they're building the miniatures. So besides the fact that these built easier than the old Games Workshop, but more difficult than the push-fit ones that are here now, I do want to kind of compare a few things. So, for instance, let's go ahead and take, I don't even care. Let's take one of the fire people, the fire sword people. Here we go. Let's take this guy right here. Okay. So here's this guy. And as you can see, I think he's pretty darn cool. All right. He's very, very cool when it comes to the fire off of his sword and when it comes to his like weird flask thing, and the design around the flask is really cool. Every detail is nice and crisp, right? Simply pretty good. You know, I'm not the best builder ever, but also not everything lined up. I'll show you that in a few other ones. But particularly, I want you just to kind of look at his face, perhaps. Right? I think that's probably the most comparable thing is the face. Okay, so there he is. Here is a Games Workshop model from around the same time. Now, obviously, the style is different, and that's kind of the one talking point I want to make before I dive into these, is Shadows of Brimstone is very cartoonish in its art and in its design. But regardless, if these are both hips, and as you can tell, they're even different colors, right? So this is like a hips ABS kind of stuff. I'm not even sure. What I do know is that the detail is not the same, right? These are not the same. Like, look at the detail on like his little tassels here, and even on the rope, or the little ribbon here, and just, I mean, it's a clear difference. So don't go in expecting this. Just for whatever reason, don't. And that goes to the bigger ones too, but I'll point that out when I actually look at the bigger one. So we've already looked at this one, so let's go ahead and look at the female version of that. So here's the female version. I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit so it's easier for me to show you guys. There we go. That's good. All right. So again, this fire on the sword is very cool. I really do dig that. And I do like this little thing. It is interesting that they're kind of similar in pose. Their cape going to the right, both holding in fact, their arm looks almost the exact same, right? It's not, but it looks close. One's looking one way, one's looking the other way. Maybe this is not the right way to do it. I don't know. I didn't read any of the instructions. They were all pretty easy to build. And I'll talk about that a little bit in a few others, but the parts are not too much. They're really not. So like for her, she was all here except for the 2 arms and the head, right? So it's like the entire body and then arm here, head, and then you're done assembling it. So not very much at all. The cape is a little thick for my taste. I'd like it a little bit skinnier than that, or at least tapered. You see how it tapers here? So this is just as thick, but it comes to like kind of a point, and that really helps. When it doesn't come to a point, it just looks flat and a little thick. And the hair, again, it's all flowing in kind of one big wave here. That's fine. I'm okay with that. It actually looks really cool. I do really dig that. The proportions all look good. One thing I want to note is the feet. I want to take a look at the feet here. You saw the feet on that guy. I'm going to keep pointing out feet because I feel they have 1 foot model. I mean, like they all wear this kind of thing, and it's kind of odd. So let's go ahead and take a look at. We'll look at some of the little guys. We'll look at the big guys at the end. So here's this guy. Obviously, he has his bare feet, though it's not much different, right? He just kind of has some hint, some suggestion, perhaps, of toes. At least in this one. In this one, it didn't even come through. And one thing I will say is I feel like everything's a little soft. Every one of the details is a little soft. Like if we go back to this, and again, I know this is not a fair comparison, but I want to show what I mean. You see these ropes and how clearly distinct those ropes are? And then you look at like these wrappings, and you see kind of, it almost seems a little melted, a little soft. And that's kind of the whole thing. It fits the theme of Shadows of Brimstone a lot, and the price of Shadows of Brimstone a lot as well. For the quality of minis you're getting, they're actually pretty good considering how much you paid for all of it. It's actually really, really good. And their bases, by the way, are fantastic. They're thicker than Games Workshop, and I actually appreciate that. They're very, very sturdy, and they look great. I really like their bases. I actually prefer them. Same with like the face here and stuff, just a little soft. One thing to note here is, again, he was 2 pieces. He was his whole body in this, and that's because of how flat they often are on this plane here, right? So you see how flat that is? That's kind of how they do it. They're able to essentially make this be the steel mold, and then you take off the lid and you can take it out. The only reason the cape couldn't be is because of this negative space right here, which I'm gonna appreciate them doing a separate piece, right? So that it's not flat on here, right? One of the reasons why these people had it flat is I mean, again, so it's all flat, right? So the only thing they had to do here really is the detail here, and I'm not sure why. Maybe because of this angle here or something like that. Because the whole thing is, can you take the miniature out, right, of the mold? That's why like this is separate, because he's holding it there. And then this might have had an issue with running the plastic all the way through, stuff like that. So there's a lot of things to take in mind when it comes to injection. But as you can see, most of them are going to be fairly flat. They're not super duper dynamic in that sense, even though they're multi-part. And when I say multi-part, I mean this guy was a single piece. To build him, I glued him on his base. But once again, look at the feet here. So he's wearing like these little boots, and they're all these like soft kind of boot sock-like things. And in fact, they put them on just his feet, so his feet are like that. I don't know if it's to avoid that or what. I do love the detail here, though, the little barnacles everywhere. There's a little bit of, I call it stargating here, right, where it takes the texture in the front and then shoots it to the back without really any care. And so a lot of that will kind of be like that. It looks like it's part of his coat. So maybe that's okay. It just seems like it's like the texture here, the ridge here, and then it just shoots back. Do you see how they all shoot back like that? I don't know if that's purposeful or not, but it's not exactly how I would imagine it. Or like this little thing here. See how skinny this is? And then see how big it gets here? Just because it can't be that negative space, right? You can't have metal here, or you won't be able to take out the mini. So, and instead it just shoots back. It's as thick as it needs to be. So that kind of stuff happens, and it's kind of a bummer when it does. But overall, I like the detail of this guy. He looks pretty cool. He has a friend. There were 2 sculpts in here. And this one kind of, I like this one, actually, more by, like, his fingers. And those look great, by the way. I love the splayed out fingers and all that. They're nice and rigid. Again, he's wearing boots, so his feet look like everybody else's feet. However, this right here, I don't like. This looks like there's a piece missing. I verified there's not. But it cuts so flat through here, right? Just a complete chunk that it looks like it's the end that a little post will go into or something, right? But it's not. It's just this very flat walled on this side, on this side, on this side, not so much on that side. Straight down hole. I don't know its purpose. I wish I could tell you, but I don't. I don't know if they forgot a piece. I don't know. It's weird. So half of you guys are gonna look like that. Otherwise, the face, the head, all that looks great. Like, I like this mini. That's weird though, and that's all I can focus on now that I see it. They have some little guys too. I really love this little guy. Again, all one piece, right? He doesn't even get a base. This is the whole model. You stick it out and you put it on the table, and then that's it, right? I like him. He reminds me of Dobby, right? And so he looks really cool there. My wife picked up on that instantly as well. And again, fingers separated all look great. Even the knife, right? It's not too thick. It's nice and solid, though. This is a really cool guy. And his face looks great. Like, this is actually one of the better detailed ones, I feel. I really like this guy. We also have, some monsters. We got, like, some carnivorous plants. Again, all one piece. Then this was all one piece. But they were smart enough to do stuff like this to connect them all together. So it's a very solid piece. This is definitely a game piece. It's not going to break or anything like that. I really like the style of the thorns. They're not too pokey. They don't actually hurt too bad. But they still look like thorns, which is important. A lot of it is the consistency with the kind of roundness around it on the big ones. So all the big ones have this kind of like circle. And then these little tiny ones, they do sort of, like this one maybe kind of, right? But for the most part, like, it looks really, really good. Sometimes they just look like growths. But these look like thorns, and I do appreciate that. And obviously this looks great too. I like that this one is angled this way versus that way. So they're not all angled the same way as well. So yeah, looks cool. Looks good. I like them. There are a few more, but I want to look at the bug here because he's really cool. All right, this is perhaps one of my favorite ones, actually. So again, piece is not too bad. It's this whole side with the bottom, this bottom, and then this body. And then the wings are 2 different pieces. It's this piece and then this piece on top of it. And putting this piece on top of it hides really the fact that this is a separate piece. And I really dig that. I think that's super cool. Again, a little kind of soft in the details here, right? I think that's kind of a common trait among them, especially like even with the wings, right? This is not super crisp. It's more of a suggestion of the texture. Almost like it's been blown up a little bit. And I'll share that with some of the bigger ones. But then you get like the eye here. And it looks really cool with the little hash marks and the little tiny details here. Or even hear that. So that's super cool. I really like this one. And again, the grass, I think that looks great. It's a little flat, right? As kind of necessary to minimize the pieces. But overall, very cool. All right, next up, let's look at one last bad guy, and then we'll look at the Valkyrie. Again, this one's really cool. I really like how dynamic this guy is, and they did a good job. So again, this arm is separate, and the cape is separate. And the cape is separate for the negative. This isn't actually even so much for the negative, right? Because this is fine too, right? You can still put them out here. But it's because of the overall like depth here too, right? So you are limited by the steel mold. You can have thicker and bigger steel molds, of course. But either way, fairly flat. But then they did twist this a little bit. But then to have this whole depth here, probably thicker than the mold they were using for these like little characters. And again, it's easy enough just to make him another a piece. So why not, right? So very cool. I like him. Very action pose, right? But again, the feet look pretty much the same. There's a tiny little hint of toes, but that's about it. Otherwise, he looks pretty darn neat, though. All right, next up we have the Valkyrie. Here's one of the versions. This is probably my preferred version. I really like this one. It's just a great stance, right? With the shield down like this, and I love the texture on the inside of the shield. And then this spear kind of held up there. Just looks super cool. She's looking up. I really appreciate that. For pieces, this didn't ever really align for me. It works a little bit for the helmet, right? Because you're expecting a line there at the helmet. But one thing that didn't work was like the side here, right? Through like the hair and the arm. It's just a little too strong of a piece there. But otherwise, like this even works too. It's just this side right here that doesn't really work. And again, it's fairly hidden on the other side. And then otherwise, this back, the only bummer I have about it is that, again, it is so flat, right? So it would have been nice to have this, like, you know, a little bit more flowing than just compressed onto it. And especially her cape just seems like it's so straight. It's so straight. It'd be nice if it was billowing a little bit wavy, right? So this little flat piece here, probably my one part I don't like about it. Otherwise, this texture is really cool. I do like that. And also, you see this that's really flat and textureless in there. It would have been nice just to texture that, because otherwise it looks a little strange. Otherwise, though, yeah, looks cool. I like it. The hand over the spear, that looks good too. Just a cool pose. Then there's this version as well, and this one has the really cool braids, which I really do dig the braids. That's super awesome. I really like that. Again, though, very flat here, and the hair being so flat out here, to me, especially on the side here, because they didn't add any texture. As you can see, there's pretty much no texture. It's all just super smooth. The texture's here, not so much here. It just looks like a blob. Like you're not even sure what you're looking at. Now, if you painted it, obviously it'd look fine, but that's kind of why I don't like this one as much. Otherwise, pulling the sword from the back like that, super cool. I do dig that. And holding the spear there, it's fine. Again, it is very, very much, flat. Right. And again, I don't know if you noticed, but these freaking like boots or whatever that everybody's wearing, right? She's wearing them in here too. They all look the same. They're just kind of these foot-like shapes that you're gluing onto the base. That's it for small guys. So let's look at some of the regular large guys. We'll have the XL guys in a bit. This guy's perhaps my favorite. I do like him. I just like it. I love how big their face is. I think that's really cool. It's really weird building them, because their tongue is part of the body. So there's just this tongue sticking out of this flat part, right? But then between this piece and this piece, you cover that up really well. And I like this two-piece face setup where this kind of layers on there. It makes the fur look really good too. It allows the fur to hang on to this kind of bandolier thing that they're wearing. The bandolier thing, again, very kind of not super detailed on the side. Like it's really thin here. Right? Really thin kind of everywhere. And then here they just shoot it back and it looks kind of silly just how thick it gets right there. And then it gets skinny again. You could say maybe it's sticking in the fur. It's still just too thick, right? Regardless of fur or not. Otherwise, though, again, I love his little satchel. I really do dig that. I love the little lumps in it as well. So it's not just a smooth thing. And the kind of cartoonish hairstyle, again, fits the theme really well. This, by the way, divot here for the rock, awesome. Like the rock looks great, very separated from the hand. I really appreciate that. And the whole face, I think they did well. The ears look cool. Whoop! Fell off his face. So again, I just used some miniature glue here, and I didn't roughen it up, as you can see. So I'll have to fix that. I've built them for a long time, but I also tried to hurry somewhat. It was taking a while to clean them all up, but hopefully you appreciate the lack of tags and stuff like that. But the face in particular, I really do dig the nose, the little ripples on the skin, the individual teeth looks great. It looks awesome. Okay, we got to look at the wolves, of course. Here's the Fenris wolves. Again, fairly easy to build. I added this arm here, put it onto the base, which is all one piece. The head's all one piece. The head goes on there, and you are pretty much done. So very cool there. I love the basing. I love the fact that they're including basing to give them dynamic poses. I do appreciate that. Appreciate the texture on the bottom when you can see the bottom. The fur here is very kind of muted, kind of soft, a little melty perhaps. You get some good detail here, but like on here, especially around a cut line like this happens a lot, where around the mold line or any kind of cut line, sometimes the texture softens up a little bit, and it's no different here. The mouth looks fantastic. I love the teeth. It is flat inside the mouth, and that happens all the time here. They don't really texture the inside of mouths. So again, it's just not that kind of style. But overall, love the size, love the pose and stuff that you get from it. It looks very intimidating. Okay, we're going to go on to I think it's a honey bear. And as you can see, the little glue job I tried to be very good. There is a little bit of separation here, and there is kind of a little bit of separation here. And as far as I can tell, that's just how the piece fits. I don't know if it's the fur type, right? You see how the fur kind of hits right there and stuff. I don't know if that's preventing it. Sometimes they're keyed in, it doesn't quite align. So you'll see there's several layers here, and it looks great from this angle, right? Like, it looks awesome. But if you come over here, you do kind of see that line a little bit. So there is that line. And the problem is, when you're looking at it like that, it looks great. But when you're looking at it on the table, you can easily kind of see that often. So just because of the angle of your head to the table. But overall, still very happy with it. The fur everywhere looks great. The way it was built actually is quite nice. There's a little bit of flatness here. I would have liked a little bit of texture there, just because technically, I can see that even looking straight across from it like that. The paw looks great with the claws and the padding and stuff like that. So overall, again, very dynamic and imposing miniature. The inside of the mouth here, this is another thing that I see the separation there. So they actually do have texture inside of this mouth. One of the few that do. But this line here, where this bottom jaw starts, is super noticeable to me. Probably the only downside of the way they built that one. Now, this one has a much different mouth than even that, so we'll take a look at this. This is the, Stegosaurus crocodile, which I really like. My wife really enjoyed as well. She thought that was super cool. The texture on it, again, I really like it. Again, it's kind of cartoony. That works. That's fine. But I really do dig it. Same with all the spikes and scales on the top. I think that looks great. I will say, see how textured and detailed this piece is? And now look at this piece. Do you see the difference here? This is kind of what I'm talking about. Where, this is really solid on the legs, on here, but then you get just right here, and suddenly it gets really kind of, that's not as defined to me, right? And then it just goes to plate here, and then the plate, again, is kind of this very soft texture on top of it, so it gets a little kind of Play-Doh-y, perhaps. The head is an interesting choice on how they made it. I'm not exactly sure why they decided to do it this way. I like the tongue. But this little, the straps, first of all, it's 4 pieces, right? So it's this piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece, and then the tongue as well. So 5 pieces to make it. The teeth look great, but as you can see, it never did really fit super solid here because it curves in. And so you can see the line. See how it curves in on that side instead of getting really flush? So you're going to always see that. And additionally, the texture in between the jaw that looks really cool on crocodiles and stuff like that is all the way through and thick here. I'm not sure why, but it's so flat here, it just looks silly. And then, of course, the entire inside of this is also flat. And I'm not sure, same with the bottom here, I'm not sure why this one got texture and this one didn't, unless they have multiple sculptors and just didn't really pay much attention to it. I think that's kind of it. Is I feel like right now I've looked at this miniature at a more fine detail than they did, right? When I see softness around here, right? When I see the difference in parts, when I see that some have insides and some don't, it just seems kind of all over the place. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because this was funded in 2019. This delivered in 2023. And all of the miniatures were from 2020 except these. And these are from 2021. So they've been done with the miniatures for a long time. And you can see right here, hopefully you can see that, the copyright, right? 2021, the other ones were 2020. They've been done with these miniatures for a while. And then I don't know if they just had to wait to ship because of the prices. I don't know if it was they were done with the minis, but this had to design all the game, which is fine. But they still could have worked on these and made them a bit more consistent. I feel after 4 years to get inconsistent texture inside of a mouth, to see, blurs and stuff like that, when, it it doesn't cost too much more to have another revision done at the factory. It really doesn't, actually. You can point it all out. In fact, you can point multiple things out at once. You can be like, hey, add some texture here and define this a little bit more. And that's one revision. I feel they could have done a better job with that, regardless of style or anything like that. All right, so here is a quite large guy. I don't know. I think he still counts as large, just like them. I think it's the base size. But obviously, he's quite a bit bigger than a lot of these, mainly because he's standing. I picked him, even though he's kind of similar to the extra large one, the XL one. Maybe these are XL, not L. I don't know. Because, first of all, again, the feet, even with the wrapping, you just kind of get this really flat look to them all. Like all of their feet are like this, I swear, for whatever reason. But I really liked, again, the texture on the fur. The beard looks great. The mouth and the eyes inside of the kind of hood thing that he has, the helmet, fantastic. Hand looks really good. I love the texture on it, and even the kind of inside, even though it doesn't have like lines and stuff like that. But really what I wanted to point out was how awesome this looks from the back. So from the back, this kind of layered coat looks great. Now again, on the side, you lose it because it's super thick and non-textured, or super straight, even though it really wouldn't be necessarily that straight. But it works. It's still okay. A little bit of thickness here too, as you can see. But just from the back here, this layered cloak looks awesome. And again, towards the end, you do get the softness, right? You do get this like a little bit there. And again, no matter how much I pressed, no matter how much I squeezed, this didn't match. Like there was always a gap there. As far as I can tell, it's just how it builds. So there'll be some gap fill too. You can totally do that, but I'm assuming most people playing board games aren't going to be doing the stuff that is required for like a bigger one, or a lot of modeling. Okay, so now we're at the XLs. We'll start with this one here, or the XXL, I apologize, and we'll get to the other one next time. So again, love the basing on this. I think that's super fun. There is definitely an order to it. For instance, you have to put this in first before you put that in. Otherwise, you will suffer. Not that I did that or anything, because I totally followed all the directions and didn't not read all of them. But there is an order. Most of the ones don't have an order. Like the next one I want to show you has no order. You can put it in any way. There's no piece on top of it or anything like that. This never lined up for me here. So this is definitely where this goes, and that's definitely where that goes. There's a little divot in the skin for there. And this one lined up, but this one never did. I think it never did because of this. This also never lined up. So there is a little post in here that he fits into, right? So this little flat part here, he fits into like right there, but like down. And it doesn't line up here, no matter what you do. I could have cut off the post and see, again, didn't quite line up, but that is exactly keyed where that piece goes there, and it just did not fit. So he's a little bit farther out on this side, which I think caused the separation here where it didn't quite meet. So again, you could milliput, you could do all sorts of little putty tricks to, green stuff to put that together if you were really into modeling, but I'm assuming not. The other thing is like this right here does line up well, but you have to hold on to it while it dries like hardcore because it won't naturally sit there. You kind of have to push it in there. Otherwise, this was actually really, really good. Like I really like the detail of it. I love, for instance, this face. Look how detailed the face is here. Again, textured inside of the mouth. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. That makes it just the bottom. If you tip it upside down, the top has zero texture at all. They're assuming, again, you're not going to see it, but you will see that. I'm okay with that. Maybe that's fine, but a lot of people like to paint their minis so that, if nothing else, when you see this, people are going to pick up and go, oh man, look at this thing. And they're going to look at it, especially if you painted it all cool. And they're going to think it's awesome. And they're going to like look at the mouth specifically because, they're controlling it from the mouth and stuff like that instead of the tongue. And they're going to see that flat at that point. So, if you're there anyway, it doesn't cost a lot. Go ahead. It doesn't cost anything to texture it. So may as well texture it a little bit. But the detail on the head is great. Now that detail kind of dies a little bit. Like you can see it fairly good on the arm, but this wing design is so soft and muted. And I think it's kind of on purpose, but also kind of not. you just get this softness of detail in a lot of places. Like you see all the ripples here, and then it gets soft to the point of completely smooth, again, towards the joint here. And you get all the, like you see how textured this is? This could have been that textured. This, to me, looks almost like it's blown up. I had this issue a few times with Mythic Games miniatures as well, where when they get really big, it just looks like the texture's been blown up bigger than maybe the texture file was really meant to be. So it's this very soft. I think it's okay, right? Because it's got like these little ripples and stuff here. But again, just as a comparison, like if you go big, right, and you get stuff like this, you can go pretty detailed, right? Here's another Games Workshop miniature, and as you can see, it's really easy to do detail when it's big. Like compare this wing here, right, with this wing that's actually larger, and you'll see the difference. It's not just cartoony, it's actively softer. Now again, Hips miniature versus, I actually don't know if it's Hips or ABS. But either way, I think here's another big one, just so you can kind of see, I guess, the difference in texture. Hopefully you can see that they're both quite big. But obviously a big difference there. So anyway, they're still really cool. And again, for the price you're paying, guys, this is amazing. It really is really good. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention on this guy. So he's really cool, but then in the back, they didn't bother texturing the back of him at all, which I think you could easily see the back of him, right? So you get these feathers with texture on it, but then the back of them are completely smooth. And I think that's a mistake. I don't think that's right to not texture the back like that, because that is something you will easily see on the table, but they didn't do that. It's just completely flat. All right, last one, perhaps my favorite. He's super cool. Here's this one. He's awesome, of course. Very easy to build, like I said, like very easy, actually. I never did get this to be super flush, if that makes sense. So there are just some gaps, kind of all over the place a little bit, but that was also because it was kind of a loose fitting in that it's not super, like the push fit, like I mentioned, that Games Workshop does nowadays. The hammer is super cool. I would have liked some texture on the back side of it. Like on the front side, you get the kind of meat mallet kind of look. But otherwise, very cool. Again, dynamic pose, like using the base, that looks good. And if you want to see a little detail, this is actually probably a good one to end on, because you do get a little detail here that's perhaps a little soft on his helmet, but on his staff here, or warhammer kind of thing, on the I don't know what part this is, the broom handle part. You do get this like inscription, the like runes and stuff, and those look pretty darn good. So you can look at these and say, oh, those little divots are very soft, very melted, and you'd be right. On this, it doesn't look like it did that. This looks super crisp. And in fact, it looks, to me, kind of bad when you see this crispness right next to this softness. Hopefully that makes sense. The big pieces always, to me, seem to be kind of blown up a little bit. Maybe bigger than, like there's some ridges here, but it just looks like it was expanded larger than what they had intended. Like, look, the hand here, for instance, right? Like, I don't even know what's going on with the hand, but there's no end of the finger here. Like, this is an expensive, for not necessarily for the size, but still a fairly pricey purchase that you would make for a very large mini. And he's super cool. But when you actually went to go paint it or something like that, you're going to notice this and you're going to be like, where do I end the finger? Why is this completely filled in on this miniature? Like, could you not have done a separate finger there? For instance, this right here, this finger is separate, right? This is a separate finger. Just do a separate finger here so that you can actually have I don't understand why they filled it in. On here, it works fairly okay, right? It's not too bad. Again, it is a little soft here, a little kind of blown up here. But then you get to this, and this is probably the most disappointing part of any mini. Not just because it's on like the big bad guy that you'd want to look super cool, but just because I don't even see why it was done, except again for a little bit of laziness when it comes to the fit and finish of a lot of this. So very cool minis. I like them a lot. Again, this texture here is cool. Love the beard. Though I will say, I think the beard texture on here is separate than the beard texture in the back. On the back, it's very strandy, right? and then on the front it's very clumpy. Again, just some oddities like that. But overall, for a board game, these are pretty darn cool. So I'm happy with them. I'm going to have a lot of fun with them. Just know that if you are painting, that you're going to come across some oddities like that. But overall, these guys, again, super cool. If you have any questions, of course, let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments on anything I said or about the miniatures or about the game in general, I'd love to hear them. It is kind of a very interesting game. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and head out. Guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Bye, guys.